Word. Hey everybody, I'm here with Tom Morkes today, and I'm really excited because Tom is up to some really amazing things right now. One of which happens to be a collaboration that I'm working with him on, but another, which we're going to talk about today, is a book about collaboration. So Tom, what are you up to? What's this project that's
Yeah.
hot?
Well, Jason, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on and to talk a little bit about this and share it with everybody and share it with your audience. So what I'm working on right now is a book, not ironically, called Collaborate, The New Rules for Launching a Business Online. So I'd like to hope that that title and subtitle tells the story, but specifically it's about, the concept that maybe there's a better way to do things, specifically online. Maybe there's a more effective, more efficient, more powerful way, more impactful way to turn an idea into reality. And maybe that way is by leaning into other people that complement you or that are better in areas where you're weaker and coming together to ship a product together. So obviously, Jason, we did that with the Flight Formula. And I've done it on a number of other side projects, essentially part-time collaborative projects, several of which have made over $20,000 from a launch that I would have not been able or capable of doing on my own. So it's not just about the money, of course, though. It's also about connecting with awesome people and working collaboratively together, which is fun, inspiring, I think personally, powerful process. And that's another thing I want to essentially get at in the book and share with people the power of that if done right.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I wholeheartedly agree about the power of collaboration. I've experienced it obviously with you and with many others along the way of developing the Flight Formula. What specifically drove you into this new direction? Because I know that up to this point you've kind of been this pay what you want pricing guy, and the guy that's really kind of carved out new pathways in that area. Why the switch? What's up with the new direction?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a switch at all in the context of I still write about that stuff. I still teach it. I still, in some cases, I'll still use that pricing technique, and it's not going to go away. I still offer most of my books and products are still pay what you want. The consulting piece, which I did for a while, I'm just kind of so tied up. I essentially don't offer consulting anymore just because I'm too busy. But the nature of it is I haven't stopped using pay what you want. So I still very much am in that field and I believe in it. This is just kind of the next, I suppose, evolution of what I want to talk about. So while the pay what you want was a conversation I wanted to bring up and start talking about, now collaboration is a topic I want to bring up and start talking about. And like pay what you want pricing, it's something that I see out there that is incredibly powerful. And some people are doing it, but there's nobody taking the time of day to like consolidate the information, synthesize it, and build some kind of like legitimate, tangible, actionable process out of it. Some sort of framework we can apply to our own lives, to our own business, to our own ideas, and then create something from it. So in Pay What You Want, that's what I want to do with the complete guide to Pay What You Want pricing, was to teach people how to do it. It's out there. People were doing it and successfully, but nobody had taken the time to actually really teach the subject in depth. So I want to do the same thing with collaboration, because there's some people talking about that we're now in the collaboration economy. It's a term that's starting to pop up. I don't think it's that popular yet, but it's starting to grow, and people are starting to recognize the power of collaboration, the power of while I have the tools to go it alone, maybe I shouldn't try to be a loner. And maybe there's a better way than spending a lot of money on virtual assistants or a team. Maybe in that happy medium, the more creative, more powerful medium is collaboration.
Interesting. So, as you know, I have a heart for the solopreneur, especially the solopreneur that's struggling and really trying to find meaning and find purpose in what they're supposed to do, who they're supposed to be in the world, who they're supposed to serve. And, this conversation just has me thinking, like, what exactly does collaboration offer to that struggling entrepreneur?
That's an awesome question. I love that question. So first, just because I think it's always a topic that deep down I think people want to know about, is like, well, wait a second. Well, financially, will that improve my situation? So I just like to always hit that first and say, my own personal experiences, absolutely, that's been the case. Like I said, launching multiple part-time collaborative projects that did $20,000, $40,000 in some cases, through the power of collaboration. Couldn't have done it myself, but by leveraging other people and leveraging the strengths that we each had come together, and we were able to do that in less than 60 days, arguably closer to a month, really, when you look at the amount of time that went into a short period of time to do the launch. And I could not have done it by myself. So the first is you're going to compound your results financially. The second thing is, and that's really important, because again, if that's not there, then I know that's a tough sell. So it's important financially that it's generally a very powerful strategy, and people should look into it. And actually, if you look at all the experts and the people that are doing big things online, you'll realize they're all collaborating in some way, shape, or form. You just kind of have to pull back. They don't say it out loud. They don't say the word collaborate, but that's exactly what they're doing. And you're like, wait a second, how does that work? How do they do that? Like that, isn't that illegal? No, it's not. It's just that's collaborations. They connect with other like-minded experts, like-minded people, experts, go-getters, linchpins, and they team up to ship stuff. And the impact is so much broader. So financially, the impact is broader. But I think it's beyond that. I think it's more than just financial. I think I kind of said personal satisfaction of doing a collaborative project. I think we're not solo creatures. We're not loners by design. We were meant to work together. Human nature. We're meant to be together. We're meant to work together. We're meant to communicate and engage with one another. We're not. That's the tough part about the reality we live in now, is people can kind of be so disconnected from one another. And I'm kind of an introverted myself, so I see it's good in some ways. Like I kind of can escape from the crowd, but when we don't lean into each other, when we don't take that time to connect, that's kind of a piece of us that's missing that. So collaboration literally will fill that piece in. We now have people that we can confide in, that we can lean into, that we can go to for support and help, and that we can both work toward a common goal. That's really powerful. My background's in the military. The whole point, it's one of the things that everybody in the military always comes back to and says, that's why I miss the military, miss the service. I hear it time and time again from veterans. Like, there's always this purpose we were working towards. And it was always about team. It was always about us and our goal. And again, when it comes to collaboration in the civilian world and doing business, you can very much have the same common core goal and work towards something together. And the third thing I think is really powerful is, what if you're not an expert? What if you don't have a platform? What if you don't have money? What do you do? That sucks, right? It's like, I feel like that's the question I get asked every day. Like, well, I don't have an audience. I don't have money. You don't need it. If you have an idea and you have hustle, you're willing to do the work for it, you can connect with experts. You can connect with the best in the world, and you can work together with them by facilitating that, by being the person who facilitates the collaborative project, kind of a hybrid project manager / business developer. But you put the pieces of the puzzle together for somebody else. You can connect with the best in the world and then launch a product with them. And that's what I did with John Lee Dumas and Antonio Centeno of High Speed Low Drag. If you look, John Lee Dumas, obviously you're familiar with him, and Antonio, they both built these massive platforms, and they're both so hard to reach. John he was charging, I think, like $1,500 an hour for his time now. And he stopped doing that because he's like, it's not worth my time. If that gives you an indication, he's making like $250,000 a month through his stuff. But through the power of collaboration, I was able to connect with him and work with him on a project and launch it. And think about it. What am I bringing to the table there? I'm not bringing a bigger audience than him. I'm not bringing more skills than him. He was at this game longer than I was. But what I could bring to the table was the hustle and my sweat equity. I could go in there and say, okay, let's work out this vision and let's build it together, and I'll make sure that it ships.
I love this idea of coming to the table in a collaboration and fully activating your own gift, like stepping up where you're strong, where you're fully capable, but then admitting where you're weak and allowing the collaboration, the strengths around the table within the collaboration to kind of pick up on those weaknesses. So as you said, like leaning into others is so powerful. And it's a huge part of why we decided to bring tribes together through Flight Formula, because we know that, even though there's power in one-on-one coaching or somebody receiving like one-way training, there's definitely some value and some power to be had there, but nothing like a circle of people that are all in something and going through something together to lean into each other for support, accountability, love. Just to have that space is just incredible, as we've experienced. And I know you and I are beyond this collaboration book working on something special. related to taking the tribe concept to the next level of collaboration. And I know we can't spill a whole lot of beans on this quite yet, but I will say that, we are actively working at studying the Scrum model. It's basically a team-based process that helps collaborations, like Tom's describing, come together and do things faster, more efficiently, and work toward that common goal together, as you described, Tom. Now, this particular week is a fun week here at Tribely because once a year, Jeff Walker, one of my mentors, releases his product launch formula and invites people to come into the course, this amazing course, and he only allows a limited number of people each year. And so that's happening this week. And so while we're talking about product launches, I'm curious, Tom, would you mind giving us just like a behind the scenes breakdown on this really interesting way to bring a book to the market? Because I haven't quite seen anything like it. So tell us what you're doing with your launch and getting this out there.
Sure. So I'm crowdfunding it. The technical term is that, I'm essentially, it's crowdfunding is going to a group of people and saying, hey, would you fund the production of this? So in many ways, Kickstarter is a good example of a crowdfunding platform that's pretty popular. Indiegogo. I'm using Publishizer, which is like those two, but it's specifically for books. And it was started by a friend of mine, Guy Vincent, who's done some really incredible things. And what's really cool about him is he works one-on-one with authors, which is really useful. You won't get that from Kickstarter, Indiegogo. So first and foremost, I had that platform at my back to use as a springboard to launch this idea. I think, with the platform I built, that I was capable of doing that without something like this. But here's the cool part about using a crowdfunding platform. It gives us the opportunity to really activate and catalyze our audience around a specific event. Whereas if I just kind of like said, hey, I'm working on this new project, would you like to pre-order it? It's like, it's not, there would be people that would support it, but it's also, what's the fun in that, but by making it an event, hey, here's this time limit I have on this. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's the idea. This is what I want to bring to life. You can help me do that. And in exchange, I'll give you either discounts on the product itself, bonuses, and rewards, making it fun for people to get involved, saying, hey, it's not just about the book. If it was, then like in terms of like, if I just want to write this book, yeah, could I do it on my own, kind of go into seclusion? No, but I want to make people a part of it. I want people to be a part of the process. So that's why I use a crowdfunding platform like Publishizer. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say I love the fact that the launch is collaborative. The launch for the collaboration book is very collaborative in and of itself.
No, it totally is, and it's been a great experience because of that. And the development of the book too, I'm doing a lot more co-creating for the book as well. Not so much in the writing, the content, although we'll see about that. But obviously, dozens of interviews. I've interviewed you, Jason, for this on the topic of collaboration, how to lead a collaborative project, and again, also high quality people like Chris Guillebeau, Corbett Barr, Fizzle.co, tons of other just awesome people, all about how they've leveraged collaboration in their own businesses. So that's been collaborative. Then the launch of this has been collaborative too. It's really cool when you pull back the underlying print, like the underlying way things are done. You realize that so much of our life is done in collaboration. Why don't we actually think about it? Think about the process that it goes through, to make it successful, so that we can create a bigger impact, because we're doing it every day in any way. Why don't we follow an actual formula to do it better? So then specifically with this launch, I have a couple notes here. So what I did leading up to it was, one, I had already had I have about 1,500 to 2,000 people in my main list. So it's a healthy list, but it's not huge by any means. And so what I did leading up to it is I created a series of blog posts that were in and around collaboration, why it's important, why it's powerful, why people should collaborate. And I spaced those out 3 weeks out from the launch. So 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and then 1 week out, so that people kind of had a chance to know this is the topic I'm talking about, and then to hint at it that first 3 weeks out, hint at the book. Second week, say, hey, here it is. You can sign up to be an early notification list. And then the final week to say, hey, it's going to launch next week. Sign up here to get access. Then the day of, a reminder saying, hey, for the early notification people, say, hey, here's access to the book first. So you get dibs on the book and the bonuses, which are all limited. And so people did take advantage of that. And then at the same time, after that, promoting it to my main list, and then promoting to all the various tertiary kind of smaller lists that I have, either through people that have purchased books from me through Gumroad, which is like another, which is another thousands of people and things like that. So to kind of get access to these people and say, hey, here's another thing I'm working on, you might enjoy it. And from that, just that alone, just leveraging my audience, I didn't do much promotion outside of it. I was able to hit 50% within the first 24 hours.
Wow.
So funded at 50%, and now we're up to. So went like this, and then it started to. It hasn't been that trajectory that I wanted. I wanted to like hit like 200% like in the first couple of days, but we're at 85% about a week
Nice.
out.
That's fantastic. 85% in just a week. So you got plenty of time yet on the campaign. It's what, a 30-day campaign?
Yep. And statistically, there's two things that are important here because I did quite a bit of research on this. Statistically, a funding, any kind of funding campaign, crowdfunding campaign, if it gets over the 75% mark, it has an over 90% chance of funding.
Nice.
So I'm not sitting back on my laurels, of course, but
Right.
it's knowing that statistically that was an important point to hit, was to get over 75%, because then it's very likely that I will succeed and get 100% funded.
Well, I think, the Tribally audience should take this as a challenge, because I think these tribe builders within this audience could probably push this thing over the top. So let's help Tom make that 100% goal happen, so we can get our hands on this amazing work that's coming out, along with all the bonuses that come with getting in on the crowdfunding campaign here. So how much does the book cost, Tom?
The basic, just if you get in the digital version, it's $13. So that's
Okay.
the minimum. And then it goes up from there with limited edition hardcovers that I'm not going to print elsewhere. Access to me one-on-one consulting, which I'm locking down for this next year. Like, I'm not doing anything. You either grab it there or you're not getting access to me in 2015. I've just did too many things.
Last shot. Cool.
Yeah. So a couple cool things like that. And then I'm building in an e-course around collaboration, because I think a book is powerful to send a message, to deliver a message, and it'll be all encompassing, but there's a lot of things that I think will require visual aids. So I'm building an e-course around this so that people can go through a 4-week process of how to collaborate, what systems to use, how to set up their, whether it's their project management board and things like that, to kind of get into the nitty gritty of it that I can't do with a book. So things like that, like depending on the tiers that you go up, how much in-depth stuff you want. So a lot of good stuff.
Fantastic. This is really exciting. You can count on my support. And I know that there's going to be other tribe builders joining in on this pretty soon. So awesome. I want to just thank you for the time today, Tom. We'll obviously be collaborating again here shortly. Yep. But if you have any questions for Tom, I'll post his email address. I'll put a link to the ordering page so you can check it out. And hope to see you inside his e-course or checking out the book soon. But please give us some feedback. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. But thanks for hanging, Tom. It's been good.
Thanks so much for having me. And if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I am here, and Jason, make sure that they get my email address. Happy to answer questions. And if anybody's curious more in depth about how to launch a crowdfunding campaign, I'm more than happy to divulge. I try to be an open book for anybody that asks. So
fantastic. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks,
Take
Jason.
care.